It'll start ringing during the meeting. Okay, it's 7 o'clock. Would everyone please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Motion to approve the minutes of the October 7th meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
And I'll vote yes. Communications, Dolly?
Okay, we have from the Mahoning County Board of Health a copy of a letter that they sent regarding the 16082 Mock Road concern, and they did get a delivery confirmation, and they have given the property owner time to comply, and they've cited on the back here reason. So that is in the works by the health department. From Burnham and Flower, we got notification that our vision insurance is going to go up come January because of the tax or the fee, whatever you want to call it, that the government is putting on. We're going to notice a 2% increase on everything, plus whatever other increases, there are on rates. Now, the vision one, if you recall, when we went through this, they went through a bidding and got it renewed until 2015.
When we joined the PIBA,
Yeah, but,
which was supposed to guarantee the rate.
right, if the rate's guaranteed, but now we have to start paying taxes. Yeah.
What if we just drop vision? Would that save a lot of money?
No.
No?
I'm good, I got my cheaters from the Dollar
Vision
Store.
is very
I mean, because I
inexpensive. Yeah.
bought glasses for Daniel, and it was like, you still pay for $3/4 of it.
Yes, you
It's like,
do.
what's the point of vision?
But this is a fee. It's called a health insurance provider fee. It's a tax.
Yeah.
It's going to be on all all insurances, everything.
And they said the health insurance is going to be anywhere between 2% and 5%.
Yeah.
So we'll have to wait and see.
Dental, vision, health
Everything.
insurance, anything that you have that's health insurance related. So that will be coming into effect. Okay, you want to handle these things later or now?
I have that on the agenda.
Okay. Okay, from Kevin, we got information on some high visibility, color enhanced, waterproof clothing for winter. Pants and a jacket he's got listed here.
That's, the jacket is almost identical to what we got for the fire department, and I ended up wearing my fire department one all year last year, and it just gets very dirty, and kind of the point of that jacket was so you have something nice and clean in the wintertime when you're coming from work. So that's identical minus the liner. I've never zipped the liner in my fireman's jacket because I just don't get cold. So that's the one that was 166 is with the liner. The one I would like is the 120 that just has a mesh liner in it. And then the pants, I wasn't going to get the pants, but talked to Goshen, and there's like, well, you get a storm and you have a tree down, it's really nice having the pants when you're out there cutting a tree up
Nice.
in the rain and the storm, especially in the winter
Doesn't
time.
the fire department usually call to do that? I mean, if you don't have your gear from the fire department?
Anything on the road I've been cutting up.
Okay.
So, I
And
mean,
what was the price on the pants?
The pants are $112.45. Is this
The-
stuff washable?
yeah, it's all
Kev?
they're all washable. They're all the what is it, class 3? Yeah, class 3 reflective, which is
Yeah.
highway safety and all that stuff.
That's for 24 hours.
As soon as you put that reflective stuff on, well, I just bought 4 new button-up work shirts with the high vis, and they were like $50 a piece just because they got the high vis on them. So.
So do we need a motion?
Mhm.
I don't have a problem with it because we have to wear the stuff if they're out in the truck.
So you're making a
I'll
motion?
make the motion.
And I'll second.
And I'll vote yes.
Okay, Kevin, do you want to order these?
Yeah,
or do you want me
that's just
to-
through Concoil, so, down here.
Oh,
I'll
okay,
just get them through them and no bill, yeah. That's
All right.
fine.
okay,
I'll just go with the 120 and the 112 for the van.
okay. Okay. Also, Kevin gave us information on a edger.
That's that garden bed edger we're talking about, if we want to do basically the circles around all the memorial trees to keep them edge nicer. It does the little ditch and blows the dirt and the mulch back into the trees. It's a little pricier than I thought. To rent that, we can rent it for $100 a day from Hilltop. And that'd be 2 days worth of edging probably initially, and then the day after that. I mean, that's one thing you can consider.
Now, where do you go to get this?
Hilltop Lawn and Garden down on Route 14. I went down to Municipal Signs to pick up those handicap signs and stuff, so I stopped at Hilltop. I knew he had these.
So you do have
He
those
was
then?
shopping.
Yes.
He was shopping.
Yeah.
I was shopping. Well, I was shopping.
Equipment place he passes, he comes back with some manual, look, I don't know how we got by.
But you can
We would use that. That puts that nice, instead of, like, we have the sidewalk edger now, but this actually does the little trench and edge. It does a nice job. I don't know if it does a $2,000 job.
You know what, I don't have a problem with it, and I agree with everything you're saying. My feeling though, at this point, I think if we need to maybe just table this and hold off for a little while,
Yeah,
see what
well,
next year brings.
Yeah, we don't need it until the spring.
And
So,
we'll
but-
see where we go from there, because we've bought a lot of stuff, and
Oh, I agree.
so I think we should just hold off.
But like I said, I know we talked about it before, so I would table it
Yeah,
myself.
I'm fine with that,
I would
Okay.
wait till the spring.
until you're done.
And
won't
then
be
even in, yeah. And then even in the spring, I think maybe we rent it
See how
for
it
2
works.
days
Oh,
and
that's
see.
a good idea.
And see how well it does.
A new guy.
Or- Because the memorial trees, I'm in between either like doing a nice edge or get rid of the mulch altogether and let the grass grow up to it.
Okay, if you edge, will you promise you'll never use Roundup around them again?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's
Yeah,
half the
you
reason.
promise, or
No,
yeah, you
that's half the
will?
reason for that. I don't like the Roundup either, but
Okay.
when you got 81 trees, I can't.
No, I
hand edge
understand
81
that.
I can't hand edge 81 trees, you know. it's just
Yeah.
not- I'm lazy, I'm not doing it.
And he says on camera. Yeah, I think it would be a good idea if we just.
But
hold
that
off
gives
on
you
it.
guys an idea, and that's actually the cheaper one. I went online, I was like,
And you
I was
say
like, holy cow.
there's a government price, does that mean it's on?
That's the state bid price, yes.
Oh, it's on state purchase?
So about $800 saving on
And you
that.
would do that around the trees down at the
Right.
cemetery?
Yeah, around the trees, the cemetery, these ones, and all the flower beds
You
here,
guys are out.
so.
There you
Yeah, because
Oh.
initially was our $200, that's what our initial guesstimate was going to be for Edgar.
Times
Edgar.
10.
Why did I put Edgar on there?
No.
No.
I thought maybe I put.
No.
Anything's
Inside
possible.
joke.
Okay.
Who's at your purchase again?
Yeah, I keep saying, Edgar purchase.
I would say,
Why is it
that's
worth
possible.
$200?
Messing with me.
Okay, so I'm gonna leave it on here, but the retail's 2,000, state.
2,800
Oh,
is
28,
retail,
okay.
2,270 is state purchase, and that could change,
Yeah.
Right.
but
And I was also thinking, we could use that for a couple, like the footers, if I continue to do the footers, that actually goes down to 6 inches, and that, you could cut them
more
to
sense.
More sense.
monitor stuff.
You can get it.
So it's all, I know where the money is.
It's looking good for cemetery use. Yeah, I think, but we'll talk about it in the
But,
spring, but
yeah.
I'll leave it on here, and so we don't forget
Right.
about it.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay,
I did, think I have time for it.
okay.
It's supposed to rain for the rest of the month now.
Snow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we're done with
Okay, that's it, Jim.
Okay. Records disposal, all transient, general, and routine correspondence and draft minutes per the provisions of the retention period have been disposed. And just in time.
I thought we were getting out of here without
I know. Nobody showed. We're going to go. We have a request to address the board from the Health Commissioner, Mrs. Pat Sweeney. So if you'd like to just go ahead and whip on in here.
Okay, I apologize for being late. I had a doctor's appointment canceled at 5. You would think that you could get to Berlin Center by 7, but no. I'm sorry. Oh, gosh. Sorry, I won't tell my doctor. I asked to be able to come and talk with you, particularly because of, as you know, over the last year, the Solid Waste Management District and the Board of Health have had some difficulties trying to come to an agreement on a budget. And with the support of all the township trustees across the county, a budget was passed and was submitted to the EPA that supported full funding for the Board of Health. But unfortunately, because of the closure of Central Landfill, the Solid Waste Management District has encountered a significant, to the tune of $600,000 budget shortfall for the coming 2014. That can't, it's like you can't get blood out of a turnip. So there is no way for them to make budgetary changes to enable the Board of Health to be fully funded. When we came to each of the township trustees meetings last year and explained if we didn't have that full level of funding, there was no way we could maintain the program as we had maintained it for the last several years. We were already at a point where we couldn't stretch it any thinner. In fact, the Board of Health was already subsidizing the program to the tune of over $20,000 every year. So it wasn't something we were making money on, we were actually losing. But because it is a public health function, we were able to do that. At this point in time, they're cutting the budget for the City of Youngstown, recycling in the City of Youngstown, recycling in all of the townships to the tune of 50% for everybody. And I just want you to be aware, and I am going to go to every township trustee meeting and explain what that impact is going to be. To be a fully authorized solid waste management program, to have a solid waste management program in the Department of Health, you have to provide a full panoply of services. You have to do compost inspections, you have to do infectious waste generator inspections, you have to do landfill inspections, you have to do water well, you don't have to do water well testing, we do water well testing. You have to do all solid waste net nuisance complaints and follow up on all of those. And if you don't provide that full level of service, the EPA comes into your community and does that. We have been able to do that, and we have been able to do that with the Solid Waste Management District funds. Now, with that being so drastically cut, there is likely going to be some changes in, no matter, even with the generosity of Poland Township, Berlin Township, and Springfield Township, who have offered to help support, help share their funding with us to be able to bolster our activities at the Board of Health. We aren't ever going to be able to maintain the same level of service. So I want you to know that even with support, there are going to be changes. There are going to have to be changes. We have had to take a person out of nuisance complaint and move him into a different program because there isn't enough funding to support him. So that's going to, even for townships that don't have landfills or water wells that are inspected, there's going to be some impact. They're telling us it's only going to be a year. We're trusting that that's only going to be a year. They are, as a policy committee, trying to come up with some ideas on how to generate additional funds, because right now solid waste management only gets funds from the waste that's brought into the landfills. But I just wanted you to be aware, and I think it's best to come from us as to what those changes may be, and I think that it's likely going to be, no matter what, we're going to not have the same frequency of inspections at the current landfills that we have had in the past. The open landfills in Mahoning County have been visited almost twice weekly, if not twice weekly, every week, and that is likely to change. It has to change. There's no way that you can do this with 40% less funding. As you know, everybody's in that same boat, and something gives, something gives. So we are, the state law at this point in time says you only have to inspect quarterly. We'll never do that. In fact, there's a process underway with the EPA right now to change that, because they recognize that there are communities that are being so poorly served that they're only being inspected quarterly, and that's not right. But we are going to try to maintain for the open landfills at least weekly, if not at the least weekly. No, let me rephrase that. At the least, it would be every other week. We're hoping to maintain weekly. At the closed landfills, it will likely be monthly. Unless there is a problem that we know of, or we hear a complaint, then we will be able to get out there to do that. The most important thing that we think is to continue to be on top of changes at the landfills. So if there's some construction going on, or if there's change in ownership, or if there's changes in, scents or odors or whatever, we will stay on top of that and work with, because right now we go to meetings with the landfills as they change. They're doing all the hydraulic fracturing now under carbon, and we've been going to all those meetings to be certain that we are aware of what's happening and what changes are happening. Some of that, we still have to do, but it's really going to be a hardship, and I just want you to know that we're going to do our best.
Did the budget that they submitted to the EPA, does that show the Board of Health at the 50% cut that they proposed initially?
Yes.
I was surprised because we had those couple meetings, went to those couple meetings, and thought before they did a budget or passed anything on, they were going to contact all the townships. We got nothing.
Yeah.
We've received nothing. So I don't know what they proposed, if that was still at the 50% or at the, because what we talked about at the meeting was, and I stated that clearly, that it was one-third of the board, what I would come back and recommend to my board, but it was not a board decision to do
No,
that.
because we haven't.
Right, and that's
Because we hadn't had a meeting.
And I can't speak for Lou or why he hasn't
Okay.
come to all the different townships. I know that
Okay.
he has to put forth a budget to the EPA by the 25th of this month.
So they need to okay it first, and then he can take it to the townships to get it okay?
I think that he should have come. I
Okay.
thought he was going to. He had asked, or he had realigned his budget to enable funds from different townships that had expressed interest in helping to support the Board of Health, but he hasn't given any final definitive answer to me, because we don't have definitive answers from everybody.
Yeah, like I said, that
Right.
was a proposed from one person,
Right.
not a board decision, because we hadn't had a meeting at that point. And at that point, he said they were just grasping for ideas.
Right.
To get a draft, to get started, to go from there. And that's where it started.
And I do know that all of the townships have received, in the budget that he's putting forward, a decrease in the funding from the Solid Waste Management District across the board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just, and that
Sure,
hurts.
Lou's a little behind. It's not like he was just thrown into everything.
Oh, he truly was. He truly was. And I do
Certainly
believe,
support you, Pat.
I do believe he's really trying to
Oh,
be
he's
transparent
trying.
and really do the best he can, but it really is.
Well,
A
I mean,
shortfall.
you can't, and like I stated at the meeting, it was never brought to our attention that they were working out of a slush fund. So when you always have backup money to pay the bills and everything gets paid, and then when that stops, now you have to work within your means. That's a huge wake-up call to everybody. And nobody's faulting Lou, and nobody's
No.
faulting the Board of Health, but by the same token, it's like, okay, now what? But I know they were talking about possibly going to get with Waste Management to see if they could get a host agreement or contract agreement with them, because currently they're not in there.
Right.
So that was another provisionary.
Yeah. But nothing has become finalized with anything other than he's got to go to the EPA with some kind of a budget by
Okay.
the 25th.
Okay, so maybe that's what it is,
Of
and then we're
this
going to hear
month.
after the...
That's 4 days.
It is.
Well, they had the meeting the first week of October, and I wasn't able to make that meeting, but again, I didn't understand where the cart and where the horse was, because I knew that
Yeah.
it was one or the other. But he said nothing was written in stone, it was all just preliminary at this point.
And we've had no further news either. We are operating under the assumption that we are going to have that 40%, 50% cut, which leaves us with not sufficient funds to even do water well testing at every one of our participants once a year. And some of them we've done twice a year. So it is truly a hardship for us. And
But I
there's,
believe, according to the draft plan, if it falls under a certain provision, then they have to rewrite the entire plan because they're not fulfilling their obligation.
right, and they are still fulfilling our obligation. The
They
way,
are.
yeah, even with the changes that he's proposed
Uh-huh.
to eliminate some of the sites, I feel like I'm doing his work here because I'm
I know.
I'm explaining things that but in good faith, I'm trying to explain.
Yeah.
Even with some of the changes that had to take place, closing some of the sites, he has actually
Yeah.
closed a number of sites around the county that they were within 0.2 miles of
Right.
another site, and
Yeah.
it just was costly and really didn't make a lot of sense in an era when you don't have those kinds of funds. But he was able to still meet and really exceed by far the required amount of access to recycling. So
Well, that's good.
that hasn't changed. That's not going to impact. What I think is the difficult part is that all of you passed a plan, you approved a plan that was for a certain level of services to the Board of Health and by the Board of Health, and now we have to come back and say, we can't do that with that little amount of funding, just like he can't do what he was doing with more funding. So it's going to be a really difficult year for the health, for the Board of Health and the work that we do around the landfills and really, like I said, responding to solid waste complaints, and we really pride ourselves on doing the best job we can.
My
with those.
concern is, when you shut down these,
Recycling site.
thank you, is it going to cause people to just throw their stuff willy-nilly in the ditch, in people's fields, and litter all over the place, and then we've got another problem?
We certainly hope not. That's why what they're doing is wherever there were sites, they're moving those bins to the closest site, so there's additional capacity at those sites. It is going to be reconditioning people, and hopefully people will recognize I have to drive another 2/10 of a mile or maybe a mile.
Yeah.
And will they do that?
But Mike brought up a good point. If everybody throws their recyclables, it brings up the volume in the landfill, which means that they can collect more money, which will fund for recycling.
It is a double-edged sword. They want to recycle, they want to, but it does kind of different.
Now, when you do those testing of the dump sites, and you do it maybe twice a week, you said, right?
We do inspections.
Inspections.
There are full-fledged inspections and there are problem inspections. And we are out there because we've had a host agreement with Carbon Limestone. We've been there twice a week for years.
So if you see a problem, then, I understand it being weekly, but if you don't see a problem, I could see
These things
that being stretched out.
They're massive. They are massive. I don't know if you've ever visited one, but
Yes.
some of them are really, and Carbon's getting even bigger. So when they do the weekly, they may not go around, or the twice weekly. They may do a portion and then a portion, and they also check records. They go through all kinds of, to see where the. I'm not actually a sanitarian, but my understanding is check the logs of where the trucks have come from and make certain that the out-of-district waste is appropriately billed and whatnot. So, and check for radiation and all kinds of things that we are required to do. So it really, plus what we've heard, and actually Mike Hayer from Carbon wants to keep the frequency because they have less infractions or penalties if they have the frequency, because when we see something starting, they fix it.
Get it right now.
For instance, if there's a lot of rain one week and we're out there one week and we go back again the next week and the ponding's not there anymore, we know it was just the rain. It wasn't a problem with how it's draining. But if you only go once a month and you see that ponding, there's going to be a violation. So they really do want to keep us coming as much as we can. And it's been a great relationship. And the sad part is it's been a nationally recognized exemplary program. You hate to see those go away. So we're really going to work as hard as we can to do, it is public health. So, but there is, the rubber band.
Yeah.
As you know, but hopefully we'll be back in a year to get back to what we need to be. But
I don't know if a year's going to cut it. It seems to me like it would have to have a huge turnaround in just a year, and I don't think that was going to be enough time.
he's talking about something called a generation fee, which is something that I really am not familiar enough with to provide the kind of detail that he will need to, but he will be coming around and probably talking about that, I would hope, because that's something that they're thinking about as a possible future.
Generation fee.
Like a tipping fee?
The tipping fee is when it actually goes to the landfill,
The
is my
generation
understanding.
fee would be charged to
the generator of
to
the
the
waste.
generator, so it would be the person that's generating the trash. The customers would have that added.
And
to
it-
their
Customers
bill.
add to the bill.
Yeah.
But what he proposed, or what he showed us as a policy committee, and this is so premature, I really don't want to, it's like public record here. So I don't want to be quoted because I really don't know, but what he was talking about is like a 22 cents for a year kind of thing for an individual or for a homeowner. So that kind of thing really does.
He was throwing out all kinds of ideas, some bizarre, some not so bizarre.
Right. I think
And
this he was.
just grasping to get a start, and that's why, and initially, we were okay with our recycling fund for 1 year to maintain for 1 year to have our person here maintaining it. Don't really want to rely on them to do it because we want to make sure it's maintained properly, our person doing it. And for 1 year it'd be okay, and then we'd have to revisit it after a year. That was my thinking to address the board for consideration if it was going to make a big difference for the Board of Health.
Well, all told, those 3 communities that had mentioned that that might be a possibility, that makes up about $37,000. That does make a big difference. That takes one person from the nuisance complaint and puts them back in 9 hours a week or every 2 weeks, which, you know, you think that's not much, but that is. I mean, yeah.
So 3 townships out of 14 only offered.
Well, we're glad we're one of them.
We've always advocated strongly for the Board of Health. Even
Yes.
though we don't have a landfill in our area, we understand the importance of
Yes.
it. And like I said, I haven't changed my mind. It's still, for 1 year, I would be willing to agree to do that for 1 year because we would be okay. After that, then we'd have to take consideration as to how it would impact and affect for us with our recycling site. But like I said, I don't know if he's going to come to us and say, here's what we're proposing.
I don't know the answer to that.
And then we're going to have to make a decision on how we want to handle it at that point. But I do support the Board of Health. I think it's what you guys do. The entire year we went through the whole rigmarole about getting the plan and why it was and why it's needed and all the support then. You don't have to come back and beat the drum. I understand fully where you're at, but there's not enough money to fund it. So, and it puts Lou in a tough spot too. So hopefully we can all work together and just get it resolved and something will come. And
I respect his transparency, though. He really has done.
he really is trying. He really is trying.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk to you about this. You know,
Thank
if
you.
you have questions, please feel free to call, and you know where to find me.
You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, or you can blue back out just like you blew back in. That'll be fine.
If you don't mind, since my dog isn't home by
Go
herself.
right ahead. No, go right ahead. That'll be fine.
Thank you so
for
much.
taking the time to come out here and
Thank you for
explain this
making
to us.
the trip.
Yes, thanks, Pat.
Thank you. Okay, you guys want to talk about that a little bit, or? I think that at this point, Lou had to send it into the EPA, and it's all going to be just a draft and say, this is what I think we can do, and then come back, and
Yeah.
obviously from what she said, they took all of our money for 1 year because I proposed at that meeting to say we would be willing to do that after we had decided it wasn't, but I did specifically state at the meeting, that was my opinion, but it was not a decision. But at this point, I haven't changed
And
my
then-
mind. I would still be willing to do that for 1 year. I'm disappointed that the other ones
The only
haven't
thing-
followed suit.
The only thing I never could understand is that they said it's federal guidelines that you have recycling program, and if you don't run it on a local basis, the EPA will take it over and run it. I asked the guy that retired, well, what's the big deal if the EPA takes it over? Won't that save the county money? And he didn't want to hear that because
It
then
doesn't,
they lose jobs then.
well, I believe it kind of does away with the solid waste district, but the EPA would take it over.
Yeah, because the
'Cause that's
Senate
what I
bill,
mean, because, well, if the EPA runs it, then it saves the townships and the county's money, I would think, because then it's coming out of federal funding.
but I think there has to be recycling in order
Yes.
to have
Right.
a solid waste management district. And I think that would, I don't know what that would
yeah.
do.
And it was actually
I
generated at
asked the
certain...
dude about that in one of the meetings, and then he just, well, his political views, like he always did, always beat around the bush.
Well,
So-
he's gone, the new guy's
Yeah,
been trying to
so
make the
hopefully
difference
Lou
now,
will-
he kind of got
Yeah,
stuck.
I mean, I like Lou, I mean,
Yeah.
Lou, like you said, like she said, Lou's transparent, he's not,
He's great, yeah.
Lou's not playing the political game, Lou's
Yeah.
out for what's best for the
Right.
community and what's
But
best
had
for
everybody realized the situation
recycling.
was what it was, and they were not truly operating within their budget, they could have saw this coming, and then there would have been no...
Beforehand.
Exactly, and then so, as
Yeah.
far as I'm concerned, signing off on that draft plan was a total waste of time,
Yeah,
because
I mean,
it wasn't true
They made a
numbers.
big deal over that last year,
Yeah.
and they
Oh,
drove it home.
it's
and-
terrible
and
every
the
few
meetings
years.
we went to, and
Every few years, it's
and it's
horrible.
like the same,
And they
Yeah.
try to pit the townships with to pit one side against the other, and
Yeah.
that's...
well,
That's
I
not
think
good.
we made the right decision to support that.
And
The
there,
health
Board of Health.
department.
and there will not be any more tire.
There will be, but they're limiting to, and I don't have the paper right in front of me now, they were limiting They were upping the amount for tire drives, but they were limiting it to like 3-year or 5-year instead of however many there was going to be. You would get $1,500, but you would have to have it for the entire county. Now, we paid $5,000 just restricting it to
Just
Berlin
for us.
Township last time.
That's right.
Even though they weren't all Berlin Township tires, I'm sure at some point.
Right.
But still,
They're reducing the appliance drive to, I believe, a $500 grant. And with the $500 grant, that would help. But in our situation, because we take the trash, the difference in that money, that helped pay for the transportation to offset the cost of taking the trash, because we get nothing for the trash, so that kind of helped absorb that expense. So it would cost us a lot of money to try and do this. So I think we're just going to have to wait and see what this coming year brings and go from there. At this point, we can keep the recycling bins. Tire drive, probably not going to happen this year unless something else happens.
Let's do a west side town or county thing, you know, we get half of everything.
Well, unless you do one for like 2 hours
Yeah.
on a Saturday.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we're so limited.
And
right now.
utilizing, yeah. And
Everybody
then,
gets to bring one tire.
but you know what, yeah. But with the recycling guy that comes, he's not going to want to come out here for just a couple hours. They loved it when we did a couple days, and we were actually, you know, getting everything
Productive in the
cleaned.
evening.
Exactly. So that's, and I've thought about with the trash collection and with the appliance drive. The electronics drive, there's so many of those. If that was kind of nice just to throw it in the mix, but if you can't have the other ones.
Yeah, electronic, yeah.
but yeah, I think what you were meaning, Sandy, was there's not going to be any grant money, and that's
Yeah.
correct.
That is
Yeah,
correct.
Anything that we put on is on us.
Yes.
basically, is what-
Right,
Yes, and that tire thing
right.
was
And at this-
$5,000.
Right, and at this point, and that was just the tire bill, that wasn't
Yeah.
our labor costs or anything else.
Nothing.
So that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying, is that it's gonna end up costing us money, and we're just gonna have to wait and see. Because if there's money coming in to, you know, defray the cost, it's one thing, but we can't take a hit like that for what it costs.
Oh, actually.
Okay, no Sunoco. Okay, 2014 Dodge Township truck upgrades. Did you get a paper? Did Brad send you one?
No?
Okay.
And I was gonna call him today and
Okay,
I
I did.
never got to.
I did.
I
He
was
said-
hoping somebody did.
I did. He said that he was still waiting this afternoon for the guy about the dump bed to call him back and give him prices, and he had everything lined up, and he wanted to wait till he had it all together to do it on one quote, so we'd have one upcharge and everything would be there all
Which
together.
is good.
So, right. The rear hitch plate, the 2-inch receiver tube, safety chain hook, 7-way trailer plug, 15,000-pound capacity. On the bid packet, that was at $525, I believe.
Yeah.
But on here, he has it listed for $400. No, the hitch plate
Not
was
bad.
$550 in the bid packet as an option. Here they're charging $400. But the dump body vibrator on the bid packet optional was $525, and it's $687. So the difference is $12 if you add them together, the short on the one, the overage on the other.
That's with the Big Bertha brand.
That's
The big, no, I didn't
Big
like that
Bertha brand. Is that for real?
That's what.
I know it says, I
Well,
see
you
what
know
it says.
You know what?
Yeah, keep on.
Okay. Does he realize this is public record?
The original one was bidded out for the vibrator on the salt spreader, and it should have been bidded out for on the bed itself.
On the,
The
oh,
shaker,
okay.
that way it shakes the whole bed.
Okay.
And he thought it was about the same price, but it must have been
Okay.
that $186
Okay.
difference.
Cross-
That's what the difference is.
Cross-memberless dump body in lieu of the stacked understructure. Floor of dump body to be cross-memberless design, designed to eliminate corrosion points. Hardock steel AR 400 steel floor, body built to same specs as original quote, $960 upcharge. That's to get rid of the cross-member, smooth bottom. Huge, I went up and looked at it.
$500. It's a big
Huge difference.
Well, it brings your working
You know, he
surface
did
down
Right,
and continues to bring it down. You can actually, instead of climbing way up,
Right.
it's all working height and stuff.
Right.
front vertical telescopic hoist in lieu of the scissor hoist, to be mounted at doghouse at front of body, hoist to mount vertical in lieu of horizontal, $762 upcharge.
That's a big.
So we figured $1,500 between the two, so that ends up being about $1,600 or $1,700. So, because he said one was going to be a fair trade, but he said the dump body was going to be like a $1,500 upcharge, so it comes out to be about the same. On the,
That's about a 2-inch drop, basically, in the bed height.
I thought he said 5.
Well, the member list brings it down 3, and then
3 and 2
and then
to make
2
the 5.
inches for the difference
Okay.
between the scissor and the.
Oh, okay.
And he said the
And the
lower
pellet
point of
gun.
gravity really does help when it comes to like the load
Yeah.
stabilization and stuff,
Yeah,
so.
that too. But I mean, my biggest thing was we handle that truck as a pickup truck, basically. You know, we
Mhm.
work out of it, we put our tools in it, we
Mhm.
shovel out of it and all that stuff. So I was trying to get that bed height down a little bit, and the more I learned, the lower I was able to get down.
Yeah. Okay.
The strobe light package, he has a basic package for $375 installed in the cab shield, and then there's an option on there for a standard strobe light package with 2 cab shield mounted lights, 2 rear post mounted lights, and 360-degree warning light visibility, and that's a $628 upcharge. So it'd be the $628 over the $375.
I say you go
I-
360.
I think the 360 is the way to go as well.
So the $628 package.
Yep. And you
Okay.
cross out 375.
All right.
I was gonna ask Brad, down at my ice and snow removal thing down at the state did finally get approval on using the green lights for highway safety for snow removal equipment. So that might bring that number up a little bit more when it gets, because they use the green lights instead of the amber lights. I actually,
Is it I mean, it comes with, I mean.
yeah, I actually got the state uses a Whalen cube light that has the green and the yellow and the white all built in once. I got the part number and everything while I was down there. I was gonna get it to Brad, I just haven't had time to get it to Brad yet.
Okay, so you want to add
So
the
that
green.
might, I like the green because it lets everybody know that it's a plow truck.
Right.
I mean, I noticed
'Cause the
the
state-
difference last year for
The
the
state's
state.
green, yeah.
When I'm traveling from our roads down the state road and I see a green flashing light coming, I know that it's somebody else with a big plow on the front.
Do you want to
So,
have to double check on that?
I'll check on the pricing. I've just been busy, I haven't been able to get to Brad to get that number to him and see what those cost.
Okay, but for now, it's the
But I would,
628.
yeah, I wouldn't think it'd change a whole lot, maybe another $300.
You have $209.50.
I'll make sure it's 200. All right, I'll check, if it's a big.
If my math is correct, Jason's double checking.
Yeah, if it's a big difference, I won't, it's not that
Yep.
important.
34.37?
Yeah, if it's a big difference, it's not.
And then 353 plus?
It's not important, it's a nice to have.
350.
I have $2.75.
Could you put a green light on there on a stick or
I'll figure it.
something?
Maybe we can modify it. and get-
Flashlight with some bell
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need a motion to approve the upcharges in the amount of $3,437 from Myers Equipment.
3,000, how much?
$3,437.
I'll run this on my adding machine when I get home.
Okay, he just did, double
I'll
check
make
mine
that
too.
motion.
I'll
Okay.
second.
Dolly's the one that told me how much I was.
And I'll
off.
vote
That's
yes.
right, that's the first
She
mistake.
never said.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll call Brad tomorrow, and then you can call him and find out about the...
Yeah, I gotta check on those lights. Like I said,
Okay.
I've actually been busy. I don't know
Okay.
what happened.
Okay, on the 1994 Chevy Township truck, Edinburgh Auction takes a 10% seller fee off the top. We need to sign off on the title, which is how we did it before, I believe. We didn't have to take it anywhere, we just had to sign off on one part of the title, I believe, right?
Okay, nobody has to notarize it, do they notarize it?
I don't think
I
so.
think they take care of
They
all
do.
that.
They
All
take
we
care of all
need
that.
is our signature
I
on that
think-
bottom
yeah,
line.
I think so.
The seller.
That's what we did last time,
Okay.
just as trustee. Kevin cleaned it out, removed the lettering, manuals are in it, whatever came with it, right?
Yeah, I got a little bit more work to do tomorrow morning. I
Okay.
just ran out of time today, but it'll be ready for Sunday in the morning.
Okay, and the bed's in the plow, or the
Yeah.
plow's in the bed?
Well, I was actually gonna put the plow on, so
Oh, okay.
It
that
would
way
be
it looks
easier for him to
nicer.
haul it with it in the bed?
He's gonna bring his flatbed, so it doesn't matter.
Mm.
It'll all pull up on the flatbed.
Okay, all right.
I just thought it'd sell better with all
Maybe,
hooked up and looking
yeah.
nicer.
Okay, and all those pictures, I contacted Katie at Edinburgh Auction, she's like, don't send me anything, just send the truck, we'll take our own
They'll see
pictures.
them,
They do everything themselves. I don't know what information they're gonna want. as far as if they can look at it, determine by looking at it what it is, we need to disclose that it has transmission problems.
Yeah, I was going to let them know about the transmission, and then also the dump bed pin is bad.
Okay.
I wasn't gonna say anything about the dump, but that's kind of a safety thing. If somebody gets that and don't replace that, it could be.
Sure. No, we
Yeah,
want to
so
be
I wanna
honest
be-
about
yeah.
what we're doing here, so, and
So
that's why we're not
to have
taking it
a-
because it has issues.
Yeah, the hinge pin and the transmission would be two items that need repaired after.
Okay, so are you going to call Edinburgh? You're going to write that down and just throw it on the seat for
I
them?
might just write up what's done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what, that would probably
Come
be,
back.
Yeah.
That way, then if you have the title and stuff, I can give them all
okay.
at it.
Then they can ask you questions while you're there then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And American Auto is hauling it to Edinburgh tomorrow at 10 a.m. So Kevin's going to get that all ready for us. A letter for the building that was burnt. Sandy, did you want to take care of that? Because I know you'd asked about getting the address.
Oh, yeah, do you have it? We said there was an address up in the...
No, the address for the property.
Oh,
owner.
I was
Oh,
like,
for the-
right there.
Yeah, I know. Other address.
Where the guy lives. Yeah, let me look up here.
Okay,
see if I
and
can find the
actually,
address.
and it's according to the paperwork that was there for the other issue, it actually is a nuisance violation for the property owner not to have the foundation open like that. They have to do something with it. It's the property owner's responsibility, but it is a violation, a nuisance violation from the Board of Health.
They cite an ORC on
Yes.
there.
And maybe I could put that in there.
Over here.
I know he wants to get some of the stone out of there, he thought. So I don't know.
Yeah, and they,
How quickly he would do something.
on this one...
You've got winter coming, I mean,
Well, within reason, I mean, I understand it, but the vacant dwelling has several large openings in the foundation, and then it says the situation is in violation of sections, and it has the nuisance abatement code. No building, erection, excavation, premises, business, pursuit, matter, thing, or structure shall be in a condition that is dangerous to life and/or health, as opposed to having an open foundation, so it isn't. And the other one that we had talked about, he's obviously just in violation just by not getting it filled.
My concern is, he's cooperated with us. We've drug this on a long time.
don't kick him in the teeth.
I hate to do that. Yeah. I mean, I think he needs to know this is, dangerous, and he has a liability concern there. And maybe he wants to post the property, no trespassing, or put tape around, or whatever he wants to do. But I hate to get too threatening, like that he
Why does
might
it have to be
think...
threatening? The building's finally down, it's open, that's a violation, and at some point, he's gonna have to do something.
It's only
Just
been a
wanna-
week or two since you've done that, and then you're beating on his door telling him it's gotta be filled in. Give him a little time.
He's had time, it's been 4 years.
2 weeks, it's been down.
It's been
That's
4
it.
years since we started this.
It doesn't matter, that's not
That's
his
not
fault.
his fault.
That's not his
Okay, that's
fault.
the point I'm
That's our
making.
fault.
But I'm not saying we can be nice about it, we don't have to kick him in the teeth about it.
Do you want to write the letter?
No. Oh, okay, well, I guess that's the answer then.
No, I'm serious. Would you like to write the letter? I mean,
No.
do you think you could
No.
state it in a way that it would be appropriate?
No, you can write
Do you
it.
have his phone number?
I've talked to him already.
Just call him, see what his answer is.
Well-
Ask him if he has a deadline. Just tell him there's concern. And then go that way and say, well, just guidelines so that we
I
have
would
to write you
prefer
a
that it would
certified
be in
letter.
writing
We
that-
have to give you a certified letter in a couple weeks here, so just don't, that's why you're getting a certified letter.
Just saying, we're getting a letter stating it's
Yeah.
down, this is what we're doing, and that shows due diligence on our
Right.
part, that we've made him aware that it's now his issue that he needs to address.
And
Nothing
then
doesn't
give
have to be
him-
nasty
and
or
give him
mean on him.
a gentleman phone call beforehand that, hey, you're getting a certified letter. That's all we mean by it. It's just something we have to do, so we just need to.
Yeah, I don't, like I said, it was never my intention to come down on the guy or whatever, but it put the ball in his court.
I talked to him when I was brush hogging up there, stopped in, he seemed like a decent guy,
Yeah, he moves slowly.
So if you talk to him, I would say that. Just give him, do the letter and a courtesy phone call, just say, hey, we're just
Well, that's a
following.
good idea. I'll call him
We're
again,
just
and then I'll
we're
do
just
the letter.
following our guidelines and the way things go. And we need to send this to you to let you know the hazards, or it's just,
That's it, I mean,
Yeah,
that's all I was
you're
asking
looking
for.
Okay, let me see if I can find that address up there on the concern sheet.
Okay. LTAP workshop, Kevin, you went?
Yes, snow and ice removal, actually pretty decent little thing. Went over more numbers, you know, how to choose what quantity of ice and salt and,
You mean a combination of the
yeah,
mix?
how to choose the temperatures and stuff like that. And also, you know, the cost of salt is dropping and the state's getting away with using grit because of the hazards of using the grit on the road and the maintenance afterwards in the spring as far as sweeping intersections. And Jimmy and I at Goshen were already talking about probably putting a little more salt in our mix and not using as much grit. Salt, we're getting at $27 a ton this year. I mean, that's grit, we pay $12 a ton, so something, you know, and you figure maintenance of sweeping the roads in the spring and everything else.
So is that what Goshen's, because we haven't gotten any notification about what they're,
Yeah, it's 27.54 a ton, I think is what it was. So we'll probably use a little more salt this year and less grit. So, but that was one of the biggest things is, you know, recognizing your temperatures and how much salt to put on the road. and all
What
that
is it,
stuff. And then
30 degrees, it doesn't work?
About 25 degrees, it cuts in half. At 15, you're pretty much wasting your time.
because the one year we were doing salt and then they scaled back on the salt and did more grit and actually
Yeah.
saved us some money. and it
Once you're
wasn't-
at zero,
It's a temperature thing.
yeah, once you're at zero, you might as well just not use anything
Stay home.
unless you're starting to get a lot of ice pack and then you use the grit just for traction. So,
Okay.
it was a decent class.
Okay, good. Okay, we're going to table the edger purchase. And sandblasting of the gates for the mausoleum, we're still tabling that till we see what's going on. Flu clinic will be Thursday, October 24th from 9 to 11 here at the Weidemeyer House. Halloween will be
Do we need to
October...
do anything for that?
No, I'm usually here, I let them in and stuff, so...
What was
no.
the time on that, Jim?
9 to 11. Originally, they told me 9:30 to 11, then I saw it was 9 to 11:30, so I'm just saying 9 to 11. kind of. Yeah.
Nice. To 11.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna wander in sometime and get it. Is there a cost to that this year? Is it
Yes, there is.
$5 or whatever?
No, it's more than that. If they went,
Was it
no,
$5
actually,
last year?
I don't know if they're going to offer what they had before. I went on the website to look at the flyer they had. I believe they're doing like a super strain that covers the strain this year and all the strains.
I just turned
I think
down my
it's like-
doctor because I figured
I know,
I'd get it for free here.
Well,
$70
$50, even with insurance, I think it's like $50.
Yeah.
No, I go on the website. Go on the website and look, it'll tell you. Unless that's the super, they have a super one for like people that are 65 and older.
Yeah, there was some
Super sick after I get
So-
it.
Super sick.
It'll make you super?
No, yeah. It'll
I'm
make you
already super. That'll
Yeah.
make you even more superish.
Yeah, no, I don't think it, yeah, look on the website, it'll tell you. Halloween is going to be October 31st from 5 to 7, and the fire department is going to immediately follow. And that's all I have. Jason?
Happy to be here.
Oh, I'm happy to have you.
Thank you.
And you look good with your glasses.
Thanks. Do I look any older?
Studious.
You do.
And gray hair makes you look
The gray?
Kevin, could you put some light bulbs in our office light up there? It's getting pretty dim.
No, because you guys can't read the thing to put on your desk and you're voting it.
That's why we
Oh, the
can't.
office,
That's the two.
the office has lights system?
Yeah.
Light bulb,
Oh, okay.
one or two.
There's several.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, sorry. I didn't
Never
notice.
hardly up there at night.
In
so I
the
guess I don't
fan,
realize.
in the fan
Yeah.
Yeah.
fixture.
Okay, I'll check.
And that's all I have.
Okay. Department reports, fire department.
Sheriff Green has proposed to Ellsworth and Berlin to give away a 1987 Hummer, or it's a Humvee. They had a grant that they got 3 of them, they converted 1, and they have 2, and they'd like to give them away. So Billy Capibianco called me and wanted to know if we was interested in it. I went and looked at them, took some pictures that you can see. They got, that one there has 32,000 miles on it. It's a 1987. They definitely need some work done to them a little bit.
One just sold on eBay, was 1985 for $110,000.
Yeah. And an 88 was going for $50,000.
What would you use it for?
We got a lot of ideas.
Grass fire.
Brush. I'm sorry. Brush, utility, transportation.
Tow the boat.
Tow the boat, the other trailer. Because right now, all you can tow that with is with 32. The Jeep's too light to tow either one of those, the trailer or the boat. Oh yeah, the front end picks up on the Jeep.
That thing picks up with the water in the back of it.
What's that?
I said that thing picks up with the water in the back
Well,
of
that's
it.
it. You got to wait in the back end for the water on that anyhow.
Yeah, it's maxed out with the equipment that's on it.
Yeah, you just have a small six cylinder.
We didn't plan that very well, huh?
What's that?
That Jeep, we didn't plan that Jeep very well.
I was the ex-chief.
Jeep was planned perfect to keep everybody to drive slow. It's a 4-cylinder.
Yep.
They all ran good. He said that they would make sure that everything was good on it to drive it, whatever. What they're doing is looking at what they would have to do to paper-wise to give it to us, donate it to us.
Where are you going to park this thing?
Well, the boat will go in the north garage. The Jeep can go in the recycling garage, and then the Humvee could go inside of it in the station. We just move the Jeep and the boat.
Did you say one to us and one to Ellsworth? Not
Yes.
the one to us and Ellsworth? It's
Yeah,
not a
two
shared thing?
vehicles.
There's two vehicles.
Oh, okay,
Right.
okay.
This one also has a winch in it on the front.
Yeah, I saw that.
The other one doesn't.
I mean, are we going to get into a big amount of money
I
to
figured
restore it?
to paint it and equip it with lights, sirens, letter, you'd probably have anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000. That's a guesstimate. I don't know what Smith would charge as far as paint. But it's almost a deal too good to pass up. There's our military spec. It's got 6.2 diesel in it. It's all four-wheel drive, high-low.
Why are they getting rid of them?
Huh?
Why don't they want them?
They're toys that they don't use.
Yeah. They only need one. But the grant that they got, they had to take 3.
Oh, they got them with the grant.
Yeah. And that's why they have to give them away. They can't sell them.
Oh.
The only thing they could do with them to get rid of them would be to take them to the scrapyard and sell them for scrap.
They were grant purchased in, you say, 1987?
I believe that one's the 1987. One's an 87, one's an 88.
And did they say they've driven them and that's
Yeah,
what
yeah, they drove
told
them
you
there.
exactly what's wrong with them?
He said there's nothing wrong with them. They drove them there.
Okay.
They haven't ran for over a year. They've sat there for a year. They took the one and redid it, repainted it. They got it running. They used it. They've used it on some of the searches and stuff in the area. And that's another plus. Portage County has one also that they use. Brian, when we was looking for the missing guy over here in Portage County, in Deerfield, they used that one. Thing of it is, you got it's a 4-door, you can get, 4 to 5 people in there comfortably, along with gear, whatever in the back. There's a lot of things you can do with it. You can
It's another toy.
stick a snow plow on it. You can plow it. Those things are great for that.
Just bought a new truck with a plow and a new little toy with a plow and.
I'm just saying, there's just a lot of ideas. I mean, I don't,
Mhm.
it's a multi-purpose thing. Just like when we change out our drugs boxes and stuff like that, that can go to St. Joe's rather than taking your squad out of service and driving it up there. And that's what we presently do now.
What would be the gas mileage on?
Yeah, what,
It's a
yeah,
diesel, it'll be
The
better.
diesel probably 8 miles per gallon.
Yeah.
8, you think?
Think.
Probably on that. I don't know. Mine gets 14.
If you're getting it for free,
That's the only thing.
and it doesn't
Yeah,
become a
free.
money pit, my concern is about storing it. Because we don't have the money for expansion, we're keeping level with where we are right now, we just don't have the extra money to spend, so it's not gonna cause us having to spend a lot more money in the long run. Yeah, I don't know, Rick. I mean, it's free, I can understand where you're coming from that aspect.
There's no problem with storage. Like I said, you put your boat in your north garage and stick your Jeep out. You know, if you make it a complete brush truck, you get rid of your Jeep.
That's what I was thinking
Yeah,
too.
it will actually replace the Jeep in the long run.
What would 5,000 to 7,000 do to their budgets?
They would be okay.
Yeah, and that doesn't have to be, you know, like right now.
Right now.
Mhm.
Good to see
Right.
how
The winter time,
Yeah.
people problem.
Yeah.
Right, but if you got it, you wanna make it usable and not let it sit, because it would just deteriorate if it sat and you didn't do anything with it
Well, the
either.
winter time's also nice for
Working.
me to
Working on
for
stuff
me
like
to
that.
tinker on it too.
Mhm.
I have a little bit of extra time in the winter time, so if we get skid units or pumps and stuff like that, I can do.
You'll be
we can
using a
save-
shovel digging around
well,
the trees.
But we can, yeah, we'll be shoveling around the trees and then, but a lot of that labor that goes into.
I have all your extra time all tied up for the winter,
redoing that,
Kevin. You just don't realize it
Redoing
yet.
that will be, by taking this wallpaper off.
I'd take vacation if I were you.
Well, I like taking wallpaper off.
Could you hook an edger up to it?
I don't think the turn radius.
My.
Yeah, sure.
My.
That edger does a 4-foot radius.
My. How heavy is it? How heavy is the vehicle? Do you have any idea?
They're big.
I don't
They're
know.
big. And the towing capacity on them, you could tow that boat and the trailer without even knowing it's back there.
Mhm.
I forget what the,
Do they go fast? I mean, do they go like the regular car?
Yeah.
70 mile an hour.
yeah,
70?
they'll do their 70.
And diesel will
Yeah,
have
they got more power. They're a beast of a vehicle.
It looks like it's in actually fairly
That's the
good
vehicle.
condition.
That's the Hummer I really want.
You got the 3?
But I got the 3.
You
That's
got
the only
the
one I
cut
can
down
afford.
model.
That's the only one I can, and it's 6 years old before I can buy it.
So you put a little sticker on the back, my beater Hummers at home in the garage. If they can get it for nothing, I don't have a problem with it.
That's all right.
Do we get to say anything?
Sure.
87's a huge money pit.
Is that right?
It's a piece of junk,
Really?
and it's a huge money pit. Gonna cost you $7,000, you figure, to get it painted, and the upkeep is gonna be outrageous.
Depending on how much you use it. You know,
That's another thing, if you're not gonna use it, why have it?
Well, you don't use it every day. Well, it's just like a brush truck, just like a fire truck. You don't use it every day. Those things that are sitting in the station are there just in case. That's the bad thing about a fire department. Everything there is just in case.
Hope you never use it.
Exactly right.
How many miles does that go on? 30,000.
32,000.
30.
What makes them the money pit? I'm not a car guy. What-
The maintenance on them, you know. Any vehicle that's that old, especially when, like a Humvee, the maintenance on them is outrageous.
So where do you get parts for it?
And we-
If it's military, is it standard where you would buy parts, or are they like,
Brian knows a guy that
Specific.
works on them that has availability of parts, so.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying, the difference between, my husband has a Mack truck, I can't go to an international dealer and get a generic one, I have to go to Mack and pay Mack prices, which is
Right.
always really
Mhm.
expensive.
Yeah.
What happens when it becomes our, well, that's, I guess, if it's ours and it is a money pit, then we could just
So,
take it to
Get
auction.
rid of it,
yeah,
yeah.
Would we be allowed to sell it if it was given to us?
Yes.
yes,
We would.
because
It's ours.
Oh, 'cause then it's second.
We get the
track.
title in
Clear
our
title.
name.
exactly, because that is.
So we can actually get it and then run a maintenance check on it
Yeah.
and
If it's not
Do a
costing, I
tally.
understand the maintenance thing, we'll see where it gets us, and if we can get rid of the Jeep, I mean.
I mean, that was the
like
first
Jeep.
thing I said to Rick when he asked, it's like, you're talking Hummer parts to get things fixed, that drives
But a
the
couple
price
years
up.
ago, we needed a Jeep, and now we're not gonna get a Jeep. So, I mean, I don't know if I'd be in favor of even getting rid of the Jeep.
When did we need the Jeep?
Hmm?
We got the Jeep before you.
No, I'm saying a couple years ago, there was spec sheets brought up about buying another Jeep to replace that Jeep.
Upgrading them.
Upgrade, yeah, to get rid of the Jeep we have.
Right, that's what I'm
That's what I
saying
mean.
is, but we still, so then we bought the SUV thing.
Isn't that our second Jeep?
No.
That's so referred to.
And so that was my thing, is we needed the Jeep before because we were gonna replace it to upgrade it, and now we're talking about get rid of the other Jeep. If we have this, I don't think, unless if the Jeep is running, I don't think there'd be a reason to get rid of the Jeep.
No.
I'd say we get.
But your Hummer is more versatile, it can pull both your trailers, where your Jeep can't. That's the only downfall. of selling
Four-cylinder Jeep doesn't have the tow.
And the other thing is, we're not allowed to, I can't hook my truck up to the trailer or the boat to tow it to a scene because it's not covered.
Right, but before this came into the picture, what were we gonna haul it to the scene with?
32, that's all you got.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you go on a call, how many pieces of equipment can you physically get there, especially with mutual aid and everybody else being there?
It depends.
Depends how many people show up.
Yeah, it depends on how many people show up.
Just adds versatility to what we have.
Mhm.
Gives you all the benefits of the Jeep plus tow capability.
And like you said, it starts to cost you money, that's all.
Yeah, but after you spend 10 grand, I mean, that's what I'm
I think it's
saying.
valid. It up.
You'll get your money out of that.
I think you'd recoup it for that.
Yeah, absolutely. If you get it for nothing, even if you put 10 grand in it, you can still, that thing, like I said, on eBay, an 88 was going for 50,000, and what'd you say, the 90-something was going
90
for
with 110. I sold it for 110.
Yeah. They
So-
hold their value very well.
So before you do all this, you'd be able to take it somewhere and find out exactly what it needed, how much it would cost before we agree yes or no to be able to take it?
I say take it no matter what, and then get estimates.
Yeah. I don't think the county's gonna foot that.
And for that matter, parks out back. If you
So you're thinking get it,
get it,
and
get it,
then
go over it.
get your estimates,
Mhm.
and if it's not
If
worth
it's
it,
not feasible, if
then
it's not
take
cost
it.
effective, then sell it.
Then
Yeah,
sell it.
sell it and then buy a new Jeep.
Something that you can
Actually,
pull with.
new Jeeps are junk, but that's my personal.
I could go along with that.
Yeah. But,
In that way, it's not gonna cost you anything.
Yeah. As long as you get your
Good thought.
estimates before you start pouring money in.
yeah,
Yeah.
go over it real good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Ashley will work on them too.
Take it and just
Mhm.
see what you've
Yeah,
got.
Ashley's worked on the full-size Hummers before too. Don't have any problem with it. And that's somebody we can trust his opinion on.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think if they did it that way?
That's what I would say, I mean, it's free.
It's a no-win situation,
And as long
or
as,
no-lose situation.
Yeah.
yeah.
Do we need a motion on this? Okay, I'll make the motion,
I'll
that they
second.
get it with that stipulation,
Right.
if you'll put that in there, Dolly.
Mm-hmm. Take it
Before
and look
anything's
at
done.
what's needed.
Tally sheet
Get
right up.
estimates before we start pouring money in.
Okay.
Mhm.
Specific estimates from start to finish, so we know.
Pacific or specific?
Specifics, availability to
Or
parts.
Wearability. What could fail?
I think the upside of it, if it works, if it's free and it works out, then it saves us from replacing the
Replacing the
Jeep, the
Jeep.
brush
Yeah.
truck.
Right.
If it doesn't work out, we're not
You
really
get
out
rid of
of
it.
But see, I thought we replaced the brush truck with the SUV thing we just bought.
No, we bought a the side-by-side little thing to go in the woods. We didn't,
Right, which is what the Jeep was for, and it has a
Jeep
water
could get-
tank, and we put a thing on the back, and we were gonna put a snowplow on it, and we were gonna use it for the same thing we use the Jeep for, right?
The Jeep can't get in the
Yeah,
woods.
the Jeep can't get into the woods like the four-wheeler.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying, we bought that, and we bought the trailer to take to brush fires, because we could use that instead of the Jeep. So
Along
technically,
with-
we have replaced the Jeep already.
No, along with the Jeep.
Along with the Jeep. Your Jeep still goes to your brush fires.
It's
Because it
still the
carries
best,
the water.
it's still the best brush truck around.
Yeah. As far as maneuverability and getting things stuck, Beloit buried theirs and burned it up.
Brand new one.
Brand new.
Brush truck.
Because it's too heavy.
F-550.
We pulled it out with our Jeep.
After it burned up.
Yeah.
So now we'll get stuck as soon as we go off the driveway.
I'll vote yes only if it's absolutely free, and it has to be specific amount, how much we're gonna spend before we even put any money in.
I agree, anything else on it?
Okay, anything else?
Hey, when do you need, the data for the payroll for the year?
Well, we pay through the 15th, right, of November, isn't that what we did?
Yeah.
Okay, well, if we're gonna give them out at the Christmas party, the next week would be nice.
Okay, so, okay.
The end of November, you know, not like the
Did we do
30th.
the 15th, or did we do with October?
No, I thought it was November.
The 15th.
November 15th is what we went with.
Okay. Okay, so probably, that's not a problem.
And I think, well, I know Shannon Graff is new.
Yeah, she needs a W-4 form.
She needs all the forms, and Payne,
Right.
yes.
Okay.
Anybody else?
I haven't heard anybody say anything. Can you just email those to me?
Yes.
Has everybody turned in?
No.
What?
Okay. Well, I,
Insurance forms.
Yeah.
You shouldn't get a paycheck until those are turned in.
well, the insurance form, because when Otarma came and talked to us, and I signed off on that piece of paper that all those things were being done, we have to do them. So at this point, they're gonna have to do it. It's not gonna be a matter of when they get around to it, they're gonna have to do it. Because once we say that it's being done, it has to be done, because if we have a claim and they come back and say that we haven't done it, they come back and fine us for that. And I was told it was gonna be done, that's why I signed off on it when I did the thing. So they need to figure out a way, whether it's check, money, whatever you have to hold over their head to get it done. Well, and I don't want to be threatened, but maybe if you guys, whenever you're doing them, have a notary right there on site to be able to take
Actually,
care of it.
it's $55, it'd be about $55 for me to
Yeah.
get my notary. Would that be something to be reimbursed, or should I just get it?
Just get it, and
And then-
the association will pay for it.
Oh, okay.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
You just couldn't do your own.
May I ask one more question? Where do we stand with the ISO? What are we doing with that? I mean, I
A lot
know
of
you
the
were going to
paperwork.
start working on that.
Yeah, still the paperwork as far as listing all your hydrants. There's going to be some issues with those.
I just helped Chief Sternberg finish his up. There's some
Yeah.
stuff that they needed a licensed engineer to do, and he has 8 5-inch binders that he said he's been working on for 7 years.
Mhm.
And none of our hydrants at this point are going to pass
Any of that.
What they did,
an
they just said
ISO
they put all new
rating to
hydrants.
decrease, because you have to have a 50 storage for a 50-year drought, and you have to hold a minimum of 30 gallons, which a 50-year drought is 4 feet off of the current water level, minus 2 feet off the bottom, minus a foot above the top. So you have to have some pretty deep ponds.
And that
Yeah.
takes almost, I bet you 75% of our hydrants totally.
They have
used.
a boatload of hydrants and only 4 of them, and they had to rework them. I spent hours doing calculations for them.
How did Green Township get theirs to a 6?
Well, they did.
Same
They
thing.
worked
Same
with
thing.
that.
They spent a lot
Done,
of time.
done.
And they paid a boatload for what I did for Ellsworth.
Did that.
Canfield paid I was told between $10,000 and $15,000.
Canfield or Greenford?
Canfield.
Oh.
Yeah, they just-
No, maybe,
No, Canfield.
It was
They
Canfield,
just
that's
started
right.
their, they just did theirs. 'cause
By
we-
reworking them, what do they do?
What's
they
that?
have to go in and they have
Canfield's just getting
to
theirs
drop
done?
the,
Did ours
you have to
Yes.
drop the, you have to attach the bottom of the siphon.
Oh,
Either rework it
Somebody
and go
just
deeper,
sent me
or you have to
a
attach
RS
some brackets and some
So
junk.
they actually have to redo the dry hydrant.
Yes.
the structure of it to draw from a deeper
Yes,
point.
deeper, yes.
Okay.
And then I had to do CAD drawings for them of the locations and the drainage areas.
How do you determine the depth of a pond that you put a dry hydrant in?
Throw the tallest person in.
I can't tell you how many times
That's where,
I mean, just your depth finder.
that's where Jason's gonna come in. I mean, you just can't throw it in any pond and say
Right,
it's dry.
no,
I mean, you can do it,
But it
but it's
doesn't
not gonna
count
be dry.
for
so-
your ISO. So,
And that's, I just.
we're gonna have money.
Yeah, I mean, even our
Take some deep-
two of our main hydrants that we use on a regular basis and never fail us probably won't qualify under
You're gonna
the
have to be, you
50-year
have to be a
grant.
minimum of 7 feet down.
With Berlin Lake out here, though,
The only bad thing about Burden Lake is in the winter time when they drop the water levels, then you're gonna
Yeah.
have to
Like
remove
now.
them and,
You can't get down,
okay.
yeah.
and you wouldn't be able to use them.
Yeah, there's actually
Yeah.
like 0 points of entrance to use any water off of Berlin Lake.
Yeah.
I mean, we looked into that in the past. We
Yeah.
have all that
Get your
water
truck
and
closest to-
and there's almost no place to,
Go get it.
a regular place.
Do you
When we
have
catch
to-
it in the springtime or in the middle of summer when the water's up, there's several places, but there's nothing that we can put on a mapping and
That's true, because they
classify
do
it as, yeah.
It's already drained.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So when, I'm sorry, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
And the river is high banked all the way around and there's no place. We even looked at putting jet pumps in there and it's just, it's.
You
the
mean
maintenance-
like down at Schilling's Mill?
Yeah, the
Right.
maintenance and stuff on them just isn't feasible for, especially when you can run, our biggest thing on the ISO rating and water supply is mutual aid departments and the tankers availability and stuff like that. And that's all stuff that you have to calculate in there, and you can use, half of Ellsworth's equipment, half of Deerfield's equipment, half of, actually only a quarter of Goshen's, because we're their fire department, getting further away. It's a
Mhm.
mileage thing.
Hawkins Lake, is that of any value, or do you have one there?
10 Springs.
Ten Springs?
No, we don't have nothing in there.
That would be a
So,
deep.
but that's back along driveway again, you
Yeah.
gotta lay hose.
Not too
And,
acceptable.
and we talked about that way back when John was around, and we talked to Bill about putting turnarounds in there for tankers and stuff like that. And at the time, which was a long time ago, their concern was, well, you guys are gonna be using this at 3 o'clock in the morning when all the people that rent houses off of me,
Mhm.
Sure.
and you're driving down your driveway.
And that's a
three.
legitimate
And
concern.
it was like, well,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I don't know about that.
So when you're doing the ISO
Rating.
rating, but the process,
Mhm.
and you start from day one and you're 3 years into it, how, when you get to the end of it, does your paperwork and everything that you started on day one not become obsolete or have
They
to
want
be
to see
changed?
pump records and ladder records and equipment records for all those years.
For all the
Okay.
They don't want to, they don't,
Pictures.
That's why we have the pump
Beaver
test
Township.
annually and
Okay.
even ladder test annually.
you have to do it for so many years consecutively.
Okay.
Right,
Okay.
and everything has to fall in.
Well, we've been talking about the ISO rating for several years, and I
Right.
just...
30 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but at what point do you have the documentation all together to send it in, where they come back and say
No, they come,
yes or
they
no?
come back now and then and check to see how you're
Mhm.
doing, give you a tips of what you need to be doing, directions you need to go.
Huh.
But your ponds are gonna be our biggest issue.
And that was, I mean, Bob went through all that work 7 years, and he didn't know until the end.
End of it.
That all of that was going to be for naught,
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
until, and he, now luckily he had some deeper ones, he lowered 3 or 4 of them, I think.
Did he do the one there at Harold Brown?
Yes,
Old
did that
Man?
one, Bear Brothers, one
They
on
actually put
Palmyra.
new
one
heads
on-
on them and everything. They have up from a 4-inch to a 6-inch head on
Yeah.
them.
Then we had to
That's,
buy-
we had to get
yeah.
that's why we had to get the
Yeah.
new,
Which actually Concoil handles all that stuff now because Ted got it all in.
Is that right?
So Ellsworth can get it all at cost.
So is it a very difficult, expensive process to change all the dry hydrants out?
Oh, my God, yeah.
yeah, what we approved.
Right, well, okay. And I didn't know if that was just a few pieces for that
Yeah,
or the whole
because
thing.
we're not gonna go to ask the landowner to foot the bill for that. They already
No.
foot the bill for it once.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's gonna be a costly issue also.
Oh, I see what you're saying, at the dry hydrants themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, this, because what we approved was for the truck, right?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
an adapter.
yeah, this was just.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
February of last year, we were officially into the ISO rating program, so that's what I did, all the registering and all that. I got all the paperwork, that 3-week binder I gave you guys that had all the initial setup information on it. We have that all filled out, and it's just a matter of
Going through the process.
working our way through and getting the time.
So you do some stuff, they come out and check it out and say yes or no, or it's, well, you gotta do this and then
All
you
the
gotta do
data
this?
information they already have on
Okay.
this, it's all sent in, so that's all in, so now it's just a matter of getting, like you said, setting up the training records we're already keeping track of because of computers. We've already started all the annual pump testing, the ladder testing, the hose testing, all that stuff, that's all on
But the
data.
provisions for the dry hydrant, that's new, or that's something that's been that way
No,
all
that's
along?
been there, it's just
So we
something
knew
we gotta
from day
get
one that they
to.
weren't
No.
gonna pass?
Yeah, we do now.
Nobody, I didn't know what a 50-year drought study was.
Yeah.
I had to-
Oh, well, yeah,
I had to
just
go
from
find
now.
out. Yeah, I had to go, I went through OSU extension offices, I went through soil and water to try to find out what a 50-year drought was and what they considered, and we had finally found it in
Finally found
some EPA regulation, what that was. I mean, I never knew what that was. And
So
So
how
I
many
think
of
what
these
he's saying is no, they come across stuff as they go that
Yeah, and they make stuff up
totally
as they go.
out of the blue.
So how many of these ponds, these deep ponds, do you need?
the more you have, the better.
Yeah, the more
Yeah,
you have, the
but I
better.
mean, is there a
I
number
think
you
we only
shoot
got maybe
for?
probably 2 deep ones.
Deep ones?
Yeah.
Now, she's meaning, how many do you have to get the ISO lowered?
Oh.
To
The
have
square
your
mileage
50
thing, I
years?
think it's everything.
Yeah, your square mileage tells you, dictate what
Yeah.
you have to have. I don't know what it is right off the bat.
Yeah, there's numbers and graphs.
We're gonna
Well,
take
Let's
one
start
look at it.
knocking on doors, guys.
Everybody has
Surprising,
ponds.
yeah,
Oh
but
my
you know,
God,
surprisingly,
it's
I did
donating
a big, I remember I did a big push
Yeah.
on dry hydrants when I was chief.
We went door
And
to
it
door.
was, yeah, I think
Nope.
maybe Jason, and it was surprising how
wanted
many
to do it.
people was like, oh, our kids swim in there, we don't want you.
Yeah.
I don't want them hanging up, it's
Yeah,
like, it
'cause
won't,
we
it won't
went
get
out
in the
with
way.
the- we went out with the level
And we
trainers
even
and
went to the
shooting.
point, we got,
Yeah.
we'll fund everything, we'll dig it, we'll put the hydrant in and everything, and it was surprising how many people
Said no.
was, no, we don't want that in our yard.
No,
And
it's ours.
So,
I
and
think
it
that's
does,
like-
and
It's
it
gotta
also
be
looks,
accessible.
And yours
because
and mine is no good because
It's got to be
just can't get
roadside.
the- yeah, you have to be able to get a pump in there, and you gotta be able to back, you know, if you,
they gotta have
Yeah.
access, they gotta be able to get in and out.
and for
I
a
think
while
I'm
there,
tempted
people
to
thought that
argue.
if you got a dry hydrant in your pond, that lowers your insurance
You gotta
rate,
get
which
back
it
your
does not
driveway.
It does not
do.
do.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't do, so that doesn't help us in any way.
Yeah, people got wise to that
So,
one.
yeah.
What?
What's
That
that?
people thought if you had a dry hydrant on your property, it lowered your insurance rate. It
Oh,
does
no.
not.
No,
do that.
no, that's.
And you gotta have the right amount of fall, even like Roger and Stormy, they have a big lake, but it's tough to get a hydrant in there because it's all flat. That water level in the hydrant head has to be 3 to 4 feet below the hydrant head level because it'll freeze if it don't.
So
So you have to actually have the hydrant in an uphill position to keep the water
you
level
need like,
below.
what, a 12-foot deep pond? I mean, what's the average pond depth? 10 feet maybe?
Well, and then it depends on the grade coming out,
Yeah.
like I said, that uphill
Yeah,
grade.
along the edge,
So,
yeah.
But, you know, going under the new draft guideline, your hydrant suction gotta be 5 feet, apparently, right?
You have to have,
5 feet underwater.
you have to be a minimum of 7 feet deep pond
Right.
to have 1
Yeah.
foot of storage.
So you
Oh,
gotta-
really?
Yeah, because you have to be 4 foot down, 2 foot below the head, and 1 foot above the head. So that means you gotta be that gets you. right
So
there.
if nothing else, that gets you at least 12 feet out into some people's lake if it falls.
Can't we just run a line to North Jackson, because they have city water, just tap right into that baby?
You said them
No?
like, you said them like.
Well, we don't want, we don't want to
Just
do that.
kidding, just kidding.
On camera.
Might set some of them right.
Yeah.
It's-
Just kidding, just kidding.
It's really,
It just seems like it's,
and last
doesn't
year.
seem
I-
like we're making any headway. It's,
Last year I hit it pretty hard when we got started, and then with Jason working on that stuff, it just,
Beaver Township,
Even
it
more
took
than-
them almost 8 years to get theirs.
wow.
It's all done by the insurance companies. They don't want to lower your rates.
Right. No.
They all know,
I was just telling Rick, somebody just called me and asked on our ISO rating, and I don't know. And they said, I just signed up, changed insurance company, and they said, we're at 10 on ISO. And I was like, no, we're at 9.
There is
Yeah.
no such thing as a
And
right.
she was like,
Right.
they're charging me for a 10. I said, well, you better call them and say they're nuts, because, and I haven't talked to her since, but.
And if we go down 1, that'll be.
Yeah, if you drop it.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, that's. I hope,
huge,
I hope
yeah.
nobody has huge expectations, because that's what I'm only thinking.
Well,
One.
yeah.
Well, I didn't
You're not
until I
gonna
found
get
out
that.
Green had a
Right.
6. Then I didn't understand, because they have a volunteer fire department.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a volunteer fire department in PA, it's a 1,
Yeah.
because of the program they put together in the hydrant system. They have city water, I mean, that's.
Well,
That's right there.
But, I mean, that's on call for, they're the only volunteer fire department in the nation that's actually 1.
Wow.
But that's, I mean, that's great. I mean, we'll be
You'll never-
happy if we get an 8.
8.
Well, let's shoot for 6. Is that all you got, Rick?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and we got off course there. Kevin?
We have a wetness problem in front of this door here. I don't know if it was from the heavy rains the other day, or if there went, that's why I got a new mat out here and had the other mat hanging outside. The carpet's pretty wet and everything, so I'm kind of letting it dry. I don't know if that heavy rain came in from the east the other day, or that many
To
people.
come that far?
Well, it's right inside the door. That's why I got the mat out here. I'm trying to let that carpet, if you go down there and feel that carpet, it was soaked last Friday.
Is the roof leaking?
I don't, there's no leaks,
there's
there's no
no-
nothing, so I don't know.
Is there any kind of like water pipe, plumbing pipe underneath there, right there in the
No,
basement?
no. I thought that, because like the bathroom upstairs, I don't know if you ever noticed a puddle of water in the bathroom.
Oh,
yeah.
That's from the steam line
The
underneath,
radiator.
because there's a leak in one of the steam
Yeah.
lines. And I thought the same thing there, but I can't figure out, so that's why I'm kind of letting it dry
I'm
and
gonna say it
kind of
goes
watching
on
it.
something.
So,
Yeah, could somebody have spilled something?
it's a possibility, so I'm letting it dry and see what happens. So, crack filling, we completed crack filling, finished up helping Ellsworth. Ellsworth helped us, worked out pretty good, had no problems, no issues, everybody was happy.
Shared services.
We got all our roads done, used all but like 12 boxes of our crack seal, did the cemetery driveways.
12 boxes is all we have left
Yes.
out of those 4 pallets that were in the garage?
Well, Ellsworth.
Well,
And
Ellsworth bought some.
Ellsworth bought some off of us too. They bought
Right, okay.
1,750 pounds. Yeah,
Right.
1,750 pounds Ellsworth bought off of us.
They got paid yet? Okay.
1,750 pounds Ellsworth got billed for.
Mm-hmm.
So, did the cemetery driveway. I was gonna started to do in the parking lot here at the main grounds, and decided that in the spring we really need to consider resealing the whole parking lot. So instead of wasting the crack filling and in the labor, I decided just to hold off. So and then I got the crack machine all cleaned up and put away, and
It's been working fine since you got the new pump on it?
oh yeah,
Oh, good.
it's-
Oh, good.
I didn't realize how bad the old pump was until I got a new pump. We never had a good pump, apparently. Big difference, even from the first time we started using that machine. Replaced a couple road signs on Mill Road, a couple of chevrons on that first turn there. There was originally 2 chevrons, and the second chevron seemed to be getting knocked down on a regular basis. So I put 1 more additional chevron, so there's 3 on that first turn, the turn that's on the hill by that little cottage.
Okay, did you mark that on the inventory sheet?
No, I haven't upgraded that.
Okay.
So the first of the month I'll probably
Okay.
get that one and do that. I also picked up the 5 handicap signs for the election day, November 5th.
And I put that there will be handicap parking available to come
Yes,
vote, so
I'm
make
gonna
sure
just
you have
probably
signs out.
I'm gonna put them on, there's room for 4 on the cement pad directly behind the station, and then I'll put the other one off to the side.
Are you just gonna hang them on the wall, or you're gonna put them on a post?
I'm gonna
and
put them on
in a-
our barricades, our reflective barricades.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay,
that
good
way
idea.
they stay portable, and
Good, okay, that's a good idea.
so.
Good thinking.
I'm always on the I helped Ellsworth with a roof sealing project they had today, about 3 hours. So, which all works out good because we probably still owe them some time. The LTAP class we covered. Got the 1 ton ready, and that's it. Office lights.
Are you going to put on there that he attended the LTAP class?
Yes.
Okay, because
Yeah.
Trauma wanted to see
Yeah.
it. Once they go, they want to see it in the minutes
Yeah.
that they attended, okay.
Yeah, Ellsworth was sealing their roof today, and Matt asked if he didn't realize that his helper was terrified of heights. And I was like, yeah, I can come down and help you seal it real quick. So it works out good, helping each other.
Yeah, you've got a good relationship.
You said the 1 ton is ready, that's to take to the auction?
Yes, ready to go for the auction. We got that.
Okay.
Got the winch removed and the
How'd you get the lettering
strobe
off?
lights and the lettering. Yeah, I started to remove the lettering with the little torch and scraper like I've always done, and Goshen swung by because, I don't know, he was bored. And he goes, "What are you doing?" And it's like,
Is it
taking the
paint or
lettering
stick?
off, and he goes, "Well, then he has a decal eraser that goes on your drill, and it takes them right off. It's a rubber wheel. You put it in a drill, and it spins around, you hit it on the decal, and I removed the Berlin in about 5 seconds.
So it's a sticker, it wasn't paint?
There's paint, the shadowing was in paint,
Hmm.
and it removed most of that. I mean, you can, if you're really like
Well,
a
you-
detective and trying to figure out where the
In the
truck
lights,
came
you're gonna
from.
be able to
Yeah,
see.
you're gonna see where it
See
came
if
from.
I
but-
could find
Yeah,
it,
somebody driving down, somebody driving the truck, it doesn't say Berlin Township on it. I did leave Township Road Department on it. I figured that might help sell the truck because people will know it's a township truck and maintenance was kept up on it and all that. But Berlin is removed,
Okay.
except for the transmission.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's it? Okay. Public comments. Mr. Rozier.
I'm Keith, I got a couple of questions.
Okay.
You know anything about what's going on up at the windmills at the school? I talked to the superintendent, and you don't get much out of him. And they took one down, maybe 2 weeks ago. I watched them take it down, and I would talk to him, and you don't get much out of him.
They
Go to the school board meeting and ask there?
No. I called him on the phone.
Is that what the crane was doing there?
Yeah.
I saw the crane.
A couple of weeks ago,
Well, there's one there.
there's one up there today, too.
Today
Yeah.
they're doing the heating and air conditioning. on it.
I figured it had
something to do with
Yeah, they redid the roof in the back building, and
Oh,
so
okay.
they were putting heating and air
They're
conditioning units
refurbishing
back
the
on.
building That they don't need
Oh,
anymore.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Can you find out anything?
It's tied up in a lawsuit.
They, you know what, it's postponed in a lawsuit, and as far as I know, they don't really talk about it, so you have to actually ask the school board, they would know more than we would.
Dominion been running gas lines on Duck Creek Road, north of 224. I live south of 224. You know anything at all about it? They hooked me up for $147,480. They'll hook me up. I told them the check's in the mail. You go ahead and start the job. The check's in the mail. 700 feet I live from 224, and they want $147,000.
Now, see, and they're going up 224 and everywhere else. I just assumed they
I
were
would
going to
say set
continue
tight.
up Duck Creek Road.
Don't set tight because Dominion will be in this area a ton over the next
Well,
2 years.
if I had $147,000, I wouldn't put it in.
No, don't pay that. You'll have
I got a 40.
You'll have residential house gas in front of your property within the next
Well,
year
when
through the regular
They're
thing.
probably going to do different things.
when you
Yeah.
called Dominion, did they say they were going to go north, or they're just saying they're just stopping?
So they come down at 224, under 224, and then went west to the school.
To the school.
That's where they said they was going.
Yeah,
And
they
then
just
they
tied
went
into,
uptown.
they tied into that main line coming from the school and then the one on
But they put
Duck Creek.
gas on like all the way.
But they put a T on it.
534.
And
Oh, they'll be, they're going further.
I would
Yeah, they're
assume that
probably
eventually they're going to
doing
come out that
phases.
They're
way.
just not allowed to, a couple of people that's in the gas business and do supplies for maintenance and stuff like that, we're told that Dominion has more work than they know what to do with over the next 2 years in this area. So they're trying to They're putting in a lot of residential lines.
We're gonna get to put one back to ours too. So, we're happy. That
Next
takes-
question. You're probably not allowed to answer.
You said 2 questions, this is 3.
Sandy's not running.
Correct.
Yeah.
Who is running would you
Ooh.
people like to work with?
I'm not touching that one.
I didn't figure you'd answer.
All I can
But I
say-
thought I'd ask.
All I
Three
can say
people running,
is,
yeah.
if I have the privilege to be reelected, I'd be willing to work with anybody else that gets elected.
You know, and
That's
there's,
really not what I wanted to hear.
And there's three other people on the ballot. so-
And there's 3 other people
and
on
we
the
can name
ballot.
the 3 people,
Yeah,
that's
you
about
can name the
it.
three that's on there.
And you know who is running.
Mhm.
Okay.
We have a good gig going here because, don't get upset, but she represents
'Cause Sandy's living
the
in
mature
Virginia.
set. I'm the middle-aged set, and he's the young guy with the young family. So we get a different perspective on all the issues we deal with, and this has worked out really great for us, at least for me, for the past 8 years. So I hope it continues.
And Dolly's just been around forever.
And Dolly, she's our rock.
Forever.
She's our foundation.
When they founded Portland Township.
She's a referee.
And then with Sandy, we always got Jim, which his knowledge of the township is
Oh.
priceless.
He's not disconnecting his phone just because she's retiring.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll be our consultant.
That's all.
That's it? Okay. Bruce, anything from you? No? No?
How's Western Reserve News going? Good.
Silence. Our
Never
next
get
meeting
to
will
say
be,
anything.
He always stays in character.
our next meeting will be Monday, November 4th, here at 7 o'clock. Election day is on the 5th. Please be informed and vote. We will now sign the approved minutes.
November 5th is the...
Election, correct.
Is the school doing a meet the candidate?
They're not having one.
Man, I was really looking forward to Ellsworth.
Yeah, that's why they're not.
That's all
Do we
right.
want to change that one meeting, did you say?
No, it was this one.
It was
I gotta
this
leave.
meeting. Too late.
Next year.
Sorry.
No, so, you know.
He still has to drive to Columbus tonight, so...
Who does?
Jason.
You do? Come on.
Are you meeting the governor again?
He's probably gonna get an award or something.
God, no.
I'm giving a presentation tomorrow. on Last year's projects.
Are you gonna sleep standing up? Is that why you're
Yes.
dressed
I
up?
think I'd go home and leave early.
That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, yeah.
That's terrible.
Looking better and
Down
better.
there.
Isn't there a lot of construction?
I mean,
on the
granted,
way down there?
Amanda's still at home, so I don't know, it's way me to leave now.
It's still on camera.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. Fine. Okay, with that, can we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make it.
And I'll second.
And I'll vote yes. Thanks, everyone.
Yep. Yes, sir.